Okay. I'm about to end. Last 2 points. Some of the considerations we want to look at when we come up with our vision, our big picture, and also when we align it with the needs of the community, we also need to align it with some practical considerations, like the curriculum. I know that that's something that LEB and the deans are working on, no, and of course it is a process that is difficult, no, tedious. Mahirap mag-align ng curriculum, mahirap mag-propose ng curriculum changes. But it's something that needs to be done. It's something that needs to be considered. If we read the Rule 138A, there are specific suggestions for subjects that can already provide, no, yung kumbaga ito yung pwedeng bahay ng the clinical experience models. If you have a human rights course, no, if you have a practice court course, for example, pwedeng yun muna yung bahay for your clinics, no. But eventually, if you want our clinics to be sustainable, then it may require certain changes in not only the way we teach the subjects, but also certain changes in curriculum, right? Do we want to offer, for example, specific electives that will help our students become better trained in order to be able to have a better experience in the clinical experience? I'll give a very practical example. Under the rule, a law student practitioner 1 can be accredited as early as second year, because the only requirement in the rule is that matapos siya ng first year. So as early as second year, pwede na siya mag-apply ng law student practitioner 1 level, no? Kaya pwede na. But the actual consideration there is, ready na ba yan? Right? Ready na ba yan mag-law student practitioner 1? At siyempre kailangan nating tingnan doon, paano ba natin malalaman kung ready na yan, no? Ang magse-certify diyan yung dean, no? At tandaan natin may sanction yung dean pag halimbawa mali certification. So medyo mabigat-bigat na responsibilidad 'yun, no? How do we know that that student, no, is equipped? We look at what a law practitioner 1 is allowed to do under the rule on student practice. Kasama doon, for example, negotiations. Nakalagay doon that negotiations can actually take the form of alternative dispute resolutions. Right? Kasama doon, basic drafting of contracts. Then we ask ourselves, right? Yung mga pumasaba ng first year sa atin, no? May alam na ba yan on negotiations? Or do we need to provide that for them? So that when they apply for law student practitioner 1, at the very least may konting grounding na sila on negotiations, right? So that's what I mean by looking at the curriculum in order to also align ourselves with what the rule actually tells us our students should have. Because what's the point of making them apply for law student practitioner 1, no, kung hindi naman sila ready for that, no? So faculty profile, which includes, for example, supervising lawyers, would also have to be considered, no? Not every school will have the same access to faculty and supervising lawyers. In fact, many of you, those I've talked to already, you have already said, hirap kami kumuha ng supervising lawyers, di ba? Kasi required no? And so there are certain ways that we can siguro address that need. I won't mention that here now, but those are considerations in terms of visioning out the type of clinic that we want. Maybe just one last example on lawyers and faculty profile in relation to the putting up of a clinic. How did we diversify our clinics in UP? No, we diversified our clinics in UP simply by identifying the resources we had. Who do we have who can handle this, right? Ganun lang nag-umpisa yon. Even our supervising lawyer profiles in the Office of Legal Aid, dyan lang din nag-umpisa. Each director, for example, during his or her tenure, would just simply look at yung directory niya. Sino bang kakilala ko na pwede kong goyohin na mag-SL? Joke lang. But actually, totoo yun, no? A lot of it came from our friends. A lot of it came from our classmates. A lot of the supervising lawyers came from even opponents in court, no? I see one of my classmates here, Attorney Viterbo, no, nag-supervising lawyer din sa OLA. He's now part of the LSU in terms of their legal aid clinic, no? Saan ka pa pupunta kung dito sa immediate network mo, no? And so But for more specialized clinics, for example, you need people who are trained to do that. You need lawyers, for example, who have a background on that. And so, how did we diversify our clinics? We went to people who we knew could handle that. So, for example, environment. We went to a lawyer who we knew, had been handling environment issues for many, many years, and had the patience, had the motivation, had the desire, had the passion to mentor a small group of lawyers, of law students. No? Yung ganung klase. So, that's how we start. No? It may be a little difficult at the start, but it's not impossible. No? Kayang gawin. Resources. This is part of another module altogether. No? It's handled by Judge Jing. How to put up the clinic itself, no, the physical structure. But important din yun tingnan in terms of your vision. No? Resources in relation to access. No? How are your partners, how are your clients supposed to access you? No? Sometimes physical location is everything. No? If you place yourself in an area which is not very accessible because kailangan nila mag-taxi ng 3 beses para mapuntahan kayo, then that means baka hindi aligned, no? Yung vision ninyo, and you say, we want to be an indigency clinic. Tapos yung clinic ninyo ay nandun sa isang building na kailangan pa ng ilang sakay bago marating yung building na yun, no? Tapos napaka-stricto pa ng security bago sila makaakyat sa building. Medyo hindi masyadong aligned, no? Then maybe if you're starting out, your clinic, you can look at saan ba namin pwede ilagay yan, no? Saan ba namin pwede ilagay yung clinic na yun? So kasama yun sa pag-iisip, no? Kasama yun sa visioning. And we're not talking simply about the actual operations or the day-to-day running of the clinic. Last point in the end, no? What we really want to reimagine here, and what the rule has been reimagined, is really the art of helping. I think many times we have forgotten, fellow lawyers, have forgotten that law is a helping profession. It is a service profession, right? We are not here for our own sakes. No? It is a helping profession. And so many times we may have forgotten that. No? And it's a good thing that the rule allows us to remember that we are a helping profession. That is what we are supposed to be. And so we want to, in the end, doing by reimagining legal education, legal assistance, we are reimagining how we can help in our own circumstances, in our own bubbles, as it were. Right now, because of the pandemic, we're all in our own bubbles. How can we help? No? So, siyempre walang limit yung imagination natin, no? Ang limit lang ng imagination is, of course, the practical things that come in. But just coming up with a vision, the big picture of how we can help as a law school, as a law clinic, the sky's the limit, as it were. No? So in the end, that's really the point of this module. We are reimagining how we can help. And so when we have our conversation, siguro, when you have an opportunity to discuss further, we can talk about how we can really put this into play, into operation, how we can really help, how we can really reimagine our roles as lawyers, and bringing back the maybe the primary function of lawyers as helpers, as agents of help. So thank you very much. I think I've taken more time than I'm supposed to, but thank you very much. And I'm open to take some questions now.